One thing that jumps out at me is we probably had a lot of people in the gym tonight because of the holiday that hadn't necessarily seen Auburn play a lot, may not have season tickets, so on and so forth. And you got to see two good basketball teams. Murray State's really good. And I think like us, take a guy like Morant, he wasn't highly recruited. He's really developed. Now he's a freak athlete, and he is long, he's fast, he's quick, and he's a handful to stay in front of. We thought zone would be good, and zone was really good early. And then they kind of got some things figured out, and then it was actually our man that was the better defense, and I was thinking that zone was going to be able to take the ball out of his hands. Murray State made 11 threes. They had some guys that, a guy like Shaq Goodwin, Shaq Buchanan, that really struggled some threes, 4 for 7 tonight. But to win big games against ranked opponents, you got to have special, and Murray State had a little bit of special tonight. That said, I thought offensively, we played a much more solid game. We had really solid looks in the second half. We did what we wanted to do offensively. They weren't able to disrupt us. Austin on the inside was really good. It was important to get Chuma and Anthony to knock down a couple of shots in the perimeter. That's an important part of our offensive game. Obviously, getting the ball in Jared's hands and letting him make plays. We made some bad decisions late in the game with how we executed with the lead. We'll have to work on that. It's a good problem to have when you have a lead. Bryce Brown had a pretty good fever this morning, was not able to go through walkthrough. Got some IVs, got some meds. He was hungry, he was thirsty, and all he was fever and achy. A lesser man would have not played because Bryce wasn't at his best. You probably could see the effects of that a little bit even in the NC State game. But his fever really blew up last night, and I wasn't certain we were going to have him today. But he was able to still play 33 minutes, which is incredible. And he did a good job defensively. Samir, we had more balance. I thought Samir obviously had his best game at Auburn, so pleased with the win.
Bruce, what was the thing to put Austin in the starting lineup?
I think a couple of things. I think that it's like from a standpoint of, I think everybody would expect that the minute Austin got back, or shortly after he got back, he goes into the starting lineup. He's one of the best big guys in our league, and one of the top big guys in the country. Why wouldn't you start him? But he had been out, and we were successful without him. And so whether it be Anthony or Horace, you just don't kick those guys to the curb right away. At the same time, we played Austin every game and started playing more and more and more, and he got 26 minutes, which was by far the most minutes he's had. The most minutes he had may have been 20, something along those lines. So we kicked his minutes up. Why? He's playing better. He's getting better shape. We're playing. We're understanding how to utilize him. And so the thought was simply, he'd earned it. We had some advantages on the inside that I wanted to get to right away, and so that's why I made the change.
Coach, this looked like a boxing match for about 24, 26 minutes. Why did you guys win the boxing match today, or how did you win it?
Well, first of all, let's just say it was a boxing match. I thought they outpunched us. I thought they beat us to 50-50 balls. I thought there was some toughness. They showed great toughness. We had the advantage on the inside and took advantage of that. They had the advantage with a tremendous individual player in Morant that is unguardable one-on-one. But then what happened was Brown and Buchanan together made 9 threes. And they made them with great percentages. Now, Brown shot the ball well, but Buchanan hasn't.
Yeah.
So we tried to get Morant to give it up so as to not foul him with mixed results. They're good. That's an NCAA tournament team. That's a win against the field.
Coach, you've been coaching for a long time. you describe just going, coaching up and going against John Moran, like where you went against before?
You know, he gets a good whistle because he's a great player. And so in driving downhill and spinning, you know, he does a pretty good job trying to hang on a pivot foot, but he moves around a lot. I think he turns it over. He turned it over 5 times. I think he turned it over more than that. But he's impossible to stay in front of. He's slippery. He's tough. He finishes at the rim. He's explosive. He's got long arms. And he's become an improved three-point shooter. That's one thing he's going to. His three-point shooting and his defense need to improve for him to be a first-round pick. But just what a great kid, too. And I look at Murray State's players again, I think a lot like our players. You know, when I was at Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I recruited kids that I thought could play at Marquette or Madison, but maybe not right away. Tevin Brown's gotten better. Shaq Buchanan's gotten better. Morant's gotten better. I think Murray State and their coaching staff do a great job developing talent.
Coach, you've got one more game before heading into conference play. What would you like to see the team develop in the next couple of weeks?
Because I truly take it one at a time. We had 3 this week. I haven't looked at North Florida. I've looked at Ole Miss. I do know those 2 teams will play some zone. So you just prepare for what's coming up next. There are some things about the way we're guarding ball screens. I do think there are some adjustments we'll need to make and some personnel decisions that we're going to need to make as we go into the second semester. So there'll be some adjustments and that I think will help us.
You talked about personnel decisions. Do you feel like D'Angelo is going to get more time, or do you like what you've seen from him in the time that he is playing?
It's been difficult to play 3 games this week and have him come back on the road at UAB, on the road at NC State, and at home against an NCAA tournament team. You can see what 21 months off does. And so to get him back and to get him in the flow, you just got to keep plugging him in.
Was this Samir's best game this season?
Yeah, it's his best game. He was excited about playing. He was excited about getting home. Safe travels to everybody. You know, for Christmas, I want to thank our fans for coming out during the Christmas holiday. I want to congratulate the women's basketball program. Huge weekend in the Carolinas. They win today? They beat them, I'm sure.
Yes.
To win over North Carolina, that's a great program win for Coach Flo. I'm excited about our football team. Phenomenal recruiting year. Those guys continue to respond to adversity over and over again. And I'm proud of those guys. I wish them luck against the Big Ten opponent, Purdue. And we're going to try to take a couple days off and see if we can get some things figured out.
So about Samir and the day that he had, obviously he stepped up and was much more assertive.
I thought he was. I thought he was engaged. I thought he was assertive. He was prepared to play more because of Bryce. And I was going to start him if Bryce couldn't have started. Samir's got a pretty high IQ. And he usually knows when he's doing right, when he's doing wrong before I need to tell him. So I think getting him going in a bigger way was real positive.
Coach, you mentioned that you thought that Wiley had an advantage in the post today. What exactly did you see on film from Murray State that made you think that?
Well, I mean, he's 6'11",
Sure.
250. He's wanting the ball. I'll tell you the other thing, too, he didn't have a turnover. That's huge. I thought he had a couple catches inside that weren't great touches because he was pushed out a little bit. Their kids were big. Didn't rush. Took his time. Threw the easy one to the perimeter. We went to the foul line a lot last year. We're not going as much this year. You'd think because we have an inside game, you go to the foul line. When you have no inside game, you spread the floor. You shoot threes and you drive it. All that driving, hand-checking stuff gets called. And you put great free throw shooters to the line. You shoot more free throws, you spread the floor out, that's what they call it. Now you got an inside game. There's way more contact in there that never gets called. Those are no longer as high percentage shots. Those guys aren't as good free throw shooters, and they'll turn over more in the post because of all the contact. So when you look at the NBA, and when you ask yourself, why is it spread and inside threes and outside threes and dunks? And why is the big man gone? Because they just kill each other inside. It's hard to get it in. It's hard to finish it. It's hard to do without turning it over. When we had no post game, we shot a ton more free throws.